Are you getting ready to take a Praxis exam in person at a testing center? Maybe I can help. My name is Collins Blakely, and I am a test prep expert with Study.com, and I spent 7 years working at a testing center where I learned the ins and outs of what to do and what not to do. In this video, I'll share the top 5 things I learned not to do from my own personal experience. These are mistakes and blunders that I saw on a daily basis. They range from mild inconveniences that cost people time on their exam to major missteps that forced me to end people's exams early and disqualify their score. I hope that you can learn from my experience and that these examples will help you be as ready as possible for test day. Alright, let's jump in. First, let's talk about what you are allowed to bring with you into the testing center. The short answer is not much. Testing centers are extremely strict about the items that you are allowed to have on your person or on your desk once your exam starts. So avoid bringing anything with you into the testing room that is not allowed for your specific exam. You will need your ID, more on that later, but I like to put everything else from my pockets into a bag or backpack and store it in one of the secure lockers that most testing centers have, or in my car if they don't have them. The added benefit of this is that it cuts out distractions. Having nothing in your pockets to worry about lets your mind focus only on the test. And your phone is the biggest component of this. If it is ever on your desk, or if the ringtone goes off, you will likely be disqualified from your exam. We were trained specifically for this, that if we ever heard a phone go off, to immediately tell the student not to look at it, and we would have to confiscate it for the rest of their exam. That is why I recommend to always make sure that your phone is turned off and locked away. Second, don't forget your ID. In order to take any Praxis exam, you will need to bring a confirmation of your test registration and a physical ID, such as a driver's license or a passport, in order to validate your identity when you check in. If you are unsure if your ID counts, you can check out the ETS website. And if you're still unsure, you can call or email the helpline directly, and they will be able to give you a full list of accepted IDs. Checking somebody in only for them to realize that they left their ID at home an hour's bus ride away when we were only 20 minutes away from closing time was tragic and happened way more often than you'd expect. You will also want to make sure that the spelling of your name on your ID matches the spelling of your name on your exam registration form. This was a common issue with college students, especially getting married and having their last name not match the one on their ID or student profile, so you want to make doubly sure that you have a match. Speaking of coming in 20 minutes before the center closes, don't do that. Now, life happens and sometimes it is impossible to schedule a test time that is convenient, but if at all possible, come in well before your exam start time so you are able to check in and get settled comfortably without rushing. Exam start times are non-negotiable, and if you show up late or get delayed during check-in, then you will lose that time from the test itself, or in some cases not be allowed to test at all. I also recommend signing up for a test slot earlier in the day if possible. The way most testing centers work is that they will allow people into the testing center up until a certain time, let's say 9 p.m., and then they will lock the doors. The people already testing once the doors are locked will then have an additional hour, until 10 p.m. in this example, to finish their test, after which their test will be ended regardless of their progress. This final hour is the most stressful time to be taking a test, and I highly advise against it. Also, be sure to sign the test center log before and after you take your exam, as well as any time you leave or enter the testing room. Failure to do so can result in your test score being disqualified. And if at all possible, try to avoid leaving the testing room at all. The most common reason for this is bathroom breaks, which are allowed during Praxis exams. However, the test clock will not stop, and the signing in and out process is tedious, so I recommend just taking care of business as much as possible before going to the testing center. My final 2 pieces of advice require you to pay close attention to your testing materials and registration documents. First, don't take the wrong test. Surprisingly, this happens all the time. If you have registered for multiple Praxis exams or have a common name, the staff will likely be able to see all of them and check you into any that are open, so be sure to double check the exam details. Once you are in the center and sat down, but before you've begun your exam, verify again that you are seeing the correct exam name and details on screen. If you do not see the right test on screen, make sure to raise your hand to receive help from a test center administrator. Neither the technology nor the staff checking you in are perfect. So it is possible for errors to arise at this stage, even if the check-in process went smoothly. And throughout your test, if you ever encounter a technical issue, be sure to raise your hand to signal that you need help from an administrator. I have seen everything from tests freezing, to monitors blacking out, to testers having issues with the keyboard or mouse because a previous tester somehow unplugged it. You wouldn't believe how often that happens. If any of these things happen to you, remember to stay calm, stay quiet, and do not try to troubleshoot these issues yourself. Messing with the computer yourself could be misinterpreted as cheating, and the testing center staff will be much more familiar with the equipment and be specifically trained on how to help you. Plus, they can approve extra time or waive additional fees if the issues eat into your test time or force you to reschedule. Finally, don't forget about your test aids. Every Praxis test will have specific guidance on what items you are allowed to bring with you on test day and what added resources you will have access to during the test. This is particularly relevant for Praxis math exams, where each test has unique rules regarding calculator usage as well as provided formulas. As a general rule of thumb, if the test registration details do not mention a calculator, then you are not able to bring one. Also, many Praxis tests and testing centers have moved towards on-screen calculators where you will not be able to use your own. Finally, make sure you are clear on whether the test allows graphing, scientific, or just basic calculator functions. Again, the ETS website will be your best resource here, and we also recommend checking out our video tutorial on the on-screen calculators because you will want to have practice with the one for your specific test before test day. On most Praxis exams, you will be provided scratch paper, but be sure to only use the scratch paper provided by the test center administrator and to return your scratch paper at the end of the exam. Failure to do so can result in your test score being disqualified. Things like this may feel incredibly nitpicky, but these distinctions are important and will be enforced. As an example, I was once proctoring a test where a student was allowed both notes and scratch paper, but when I saw them writing on the notes instead of the scratch paper, I had to end their test and disqualify them. Well, that concludes my top 5 things I learned not to do from working at a testing center. I hope that you were able to take something away from my experience and that your test day goes much smoother than some of my less prepared or less careful students. If this video helped you, be sure to check out our other videos in this and other series for more Praxis test prep. And please like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit that notification bell so that you'll be the first to know when new teacher test prep content drops. And don't be shy. If you have questions about anything that I've discussed, please leave a comment down below. And don't forget to circle back once you have passed your exam so that we can all celebrate with you. Good luck.